I don't mind being the designated driver. That's not the point. The point is I need to have accurate information that makes sense all the way across. I turn to my long-suffering wife, Marie. Hi, you understand what it's like to be a designated driver, right?
Not really.
No. Okay, that's true.
I usually hire someone, ask a friend, phone a friend, call a family member, Uber, Lyft, taxi, whatever.
Understood. Okay, so I don't mind being the designated driver. Let me explain the conundrum because this keeps me awake at night. So I'm sitting here going, we have friends come from out of town. It's like we're going to take them to a whiskey distillery.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a problem, and we have to drive there.
We do.
So one of us should be sober, but it's located in a dry county. Okay, but no, hold on. But then it's like, but we're going to take a tour. And at the end of the tour, there will be sample beverages. I will be drinking. But it's like not enough to get me drunk. So I don't know. But you will be buying alcohol there. Does this make sense? This keeps me awake at night. We're going to solve this in just a second because we're taking you to Jack Daniels. You ready to go?
Oh, it was so good. I cannot wait to talk about this.
We're going to do it. That's Bree over there.
That's Frank.
Voca Vacay starts right now.
Prepare yourself for the bestest, amazingest, and overall super duperest travel program in the history of ever. Vacation like it's your job and live vicariously through yourself. It's time now for Voca Vacay.
You know, every single time we roar through with a new episode of Voca Vacay, we give a shout out to our newest, bestest buddies as our global worldwide domination of our media conglomerate continues. Hey, check this out. 3 new countries listening this week. Sri Lanka.
What?
Yeah, I had to look at the map.
That is really cool.
Yeah, so thanks, Sri Lankans.
Is that Sri Lankans?
It is now.
Sri Lankans?
Sri Lankans, I guess.
Sri Lanka.
We're huge over there.
Yes.
Austria. Finally.
Austria.
Yeah, it's taken forever to get Austria.
I love getting new countries and new places.
Yeah.
And then countries that in places we've been.
Right.
It's like a new country that we haven't been to in that place. So in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
We haven't been to Austria.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But Austria is kind of like middle Europe. It's like the gateway to Eastern Europe.
Is it? Okay,
It is. It's like Austria because it's right next to like Hungary. So it's like you're getting over
cool.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Austria is like, and Dominican Republic.
Oh, the DR.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You learned that from 90 Day Fiance. That's where they said the DR. Oh yeah.
DR.
We're from the DR.
DR.
Anyway.
That's super cool.
And so all of our bestest buddies, hey, thanks for playing along.
Hey.
Good to have you in our sandbox.
Welcome.
Because you have joined us at a wonderful time. We're talking about the Jack Daniels Distillery.
Hey, look, a lot of these places make their own like rums and like whatever.
Yeah.
Like everybody makes their own thing. Here in good old Tennessee, we make us some whiskey.
We make an international brand. And if you've not heard of Jack Daniels, what rock have you been living under? Because everyone has heard of this. As it happens, here's the deal. We live a little bit south of Nashville, so get your map. That's where we live. And Jack Daniels, and they always say it's not a trip, it's a pilgrimage.
It is a pilgrimage.
I love these guys.
Woo!
It is in a little town called Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Love it.
Lynchburg, Tennessee, just by way of comparison to wherever you are, it is a dry county.
Yes.
And there's only 6,400 people.
That's
in
nuts.
the county. It is a small place. There's literally only one stoplight in the entire county.
Now, here's what's interesting. We've also been to, like, if you listen to some of our other podcasts,
right? We've
also been on some bourbon tours in Kentucky.
Yes.
Those are also small towns.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, think about it. They're small towns because think about how many people would move to a place just because their favorite liquor brand is from there. So no wonder it's a dry county. It keeps it small. It keeps a lot of people from moving in.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So we live in Tennessee, and Tennessee we can buy alcohol here.
Well,
and
sure.
It goes county by county, but in Tennessee, in their county, which is Moore County down there, it is a dry county.
Yes.
So let's explain how this works. If you want to go to Jack Daniels in Lynchburg, Tennessee, here are your options. And let's say that you're going to start in Nashville because Nashville is the big place. It's got the airport. We get it. You might fly into Nashville.
Right.
You can take tours down there.
Yes.
In that there's private companies, they get you on a tour bus, they'll bus you up and you do this and da.
Yeah.
You can do that. You don't have to.
Right.
You can drive on your own, which is why I talk about the designated driver thing. It's like,
right.
Do I drink? Do I not drink? I don't know what to do. Oh boy. No. It's like you're going to be absolutely fine. It is about 90 minutes drive time from Nashville.
Yes, and that's what people sometimes don't understand. Because it's advertised as a distillery that you can see when you come to Nashville.
That's right.
But it's actually nowhere near Metro Nashville proper.
Yeah.
Like it's way further south. Yeah. Like it's 90 minutes.
Yeah. So if you see something like, oh, we're going to Jack Daniel's in Nashville, it's like, well, you might find a convenience store that sells it, but the proper distillery, you got to go to Lynchburg.
That's right.
And it is not on the interstate.
It is not.
Because when you're driving down the interstate, then you have to take an exit.
Right.
And it's a little bit back there.
Well, and think about it because, back in the day, all of this was sort of, we'll talk about the history of it later. Yeah. But Prohibition affected some of how this all happened.
Yes.
And you would want to put where you were making or where you were, distilling booze back in the woods.
Yeah. And even predates, even before the Moonshiners.
Right.
We're out in the middle of absolute nowhere.
Yes.
So, of course, you had to do that.
You don't want people to steal to steal, like a stillery, like a still. You don't want people to steal, to actually like thief, to like steal your recipe either. So you want to have it somewhere where people can't just like come and like,
you don't want them to steal your still is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
That just confused me. Okay. So let's say you get down there, you're going to drive down.
Okay.
It's a lovely town. And by the way, it is free parking. So if anyone's like, you got to pay for parking. No, you don't. Yeah. The parking's right across the street.
It's really cool.
And to make sure that you don't have to walk, 100, 200 yards?
It's actually not far at all.
It's not far. They have a shuttle bus.
I have to say it's hot and humid here.
Yeah.
And so it is nice that like you drive all that way. You go through the country roads to get there and then you park and then you're like, oh man, I got to walk across the heat and get in the heat and like,
right.
And they're like, no, we have a proper shuttle bus to keep you nice and cool.
They have shuttle buses and we asked them, it's like, how often is this run? It's like, about every 2 minutes.
I know. I was like, because we have gone multiple times.
Yeah.
We never took the shuttle bus. This time we take the shuttle bus.
Take the shuttle bus.
Don't be a fool.
You're going to park. You're going to get on the shuttle bus. And here's what's going to happen. They're going to take you not to the distillery first.
Right.
They're going to take you into Lynchburg.
Well, they'll take you if you're running late for your tour.
Yeah, that's right.
They'll take you there first.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But if you are on time.
Yeah.
And they say get there half an hour early.
Right.
They'll say, let's take you downtown and show you downtown Lynchburg, which is 1 square block.
It is a square block. We're not making this up. I mean, there's totally time to do this.
Yeah.
So you're going to go through that. And before we get there, let's describe the tour options. Because what's going to happen is when you sign up, you should sign up in advance for a tour.
Yes.
Do not expect just walk in and have a tour available. It's not like Disney where you just walk in there and say, hey, can I go? No.
Right.
These are actually guided tours.
Yes.
And so you want to sign up in advance so you're not disappointed or delayed.
And you want to do that also because children are not allowed on some of the tours.
That's right.
So if you just show up and you're like, I would like to go on a tour and you have your 12-year-old with you.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, you needed to sign up online and pick the one that is not,
that's not going to go for a couple of hours.
That's the dry tour.
Yeah. So here are the 4 kinds of tours. Before you actually walk in the door, it's like you need to know these tours.
Yes.
Okay. 4 tours. Number 1. And by the way, all these are capped at 20 people.
Right.
And there's one of them that only has 10 people allowed. So you really get the experience. It's not like a big cattle call or something.
Right.
Plenty of room, but you've got to sign up in advance.
And like, look, sorry, I know I keep delaying this, but
no.
One last thing.
We're talking whiskey.
Since we've been on so many distillery tours, I have to say, this one's like, really good.
It is.
This one's like up there. It's like A level.
They do a quality job.
It's very quality.
Okay. We'll call this the high end one first.
Sure.
It's called Angel Share. And all these take this one takes 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It is $35. Do you hear her drooling? I can hear you salivate in my headphones. It turns out that you take the tour.
Yeah.
And we'll step you through the tour here in a minute. But you take the tour, the Angel Share Tour. It's $35 each. You end with the tasting of Single Barrel. Single Barrel was this Jack Daniel's Single Barrel.
Yes.
Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof.
Yes.
Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye. And Jack Daniel's Sinatra Select.
Woo-hoo!
And Gold 27.
That'll make you slap your granny.
There you go. Now, I've done that before.
Yeah.
And I'm not enough of a connoisseur of whiskey to know, that's the guy. Look, I know what I like.
These are like it's like olive oil, okay?
Yeah.
There's like the virgin press, the first press, these are like levels. If you can take the Angel Share Tour,
right,
you're getting like the best quality, the top shelf stuff of the brand.
Yeah. And so you can do that. I've done it. It's very nice.
It's very nice.
Now,
do you know why they call it the Angel Share?
No.
It's because they have that. It's like a saying about what's left in the barrel goes.
Oh yeah. It's what evaporates out, or the steam, or what.
Like
that's
some
the
of it
angel
goes
share.
to the devil, and some of it goes to.
That's right. The devil's cut and the angel share. The angel share is like the
share.
evaporative qualities, and it goes into the heavens and all.
What gets into the barrel is the devil's cut.
That's right.
I believe is how that works.
Yeah. And the angel share is
what. Yeah.
It's the nice stuff. Also nice is the flight of Jack Daniels. Also 90 minutes. You save a couple bucks. It's only $30. And you get a tasting as well. Would you like to read the different Jack Daniels products you get on the flight of Jack Daniels?
Yes. You get Gentleman Jack.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Old Number 7. Everybody knows Old Number 7.
There you go.
We almost called this show Old Number 7.
We almost did. That's right.
You get the rye, the Tennessee honey, the Tennessee fire, and the Tennessee apple.
I will say this. I do not like flavored... I don't like flavored alcohol.
Right.
As a rule, but I do like these.
I generally don't either.
Yeah.
These were so good.
Yeah. Whenever someone's like, we got some vodka that's cotton candy flavored, I just want to smack them in the face. I swear. I cannot stand that.
Yes.
I want the regular stuff. But these, we sampled. We took the flight of Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And we had the honey, the fire, and the apple. And man.
Yeah.
These are delectable.
Oh, so good.
By the way, it's the same tour. It's the same tour. It's just when you come out, you get this type of alcohol instead of the angel share type of alcohol.
Right, exactly.
So you see the exact same stuff.
And we've done both of them.
Yeah, darn right we have.
Really good.
The one we have not done, now there's two other tours. The one we have not done is the Taste of Lynchburg.
I really want to do this, and we're going to go back and do this, and we'll probably have to do another show just because of this.
Darn right. And the thing is about this is that it is $125. Oh, no, it costs more. It is double the time. It's 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And the reason we have done this, they only do it once a day on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
It's hard to book.
It is.
It's always booked up. We have tried to book it several times.
They only take 10 people on this one.
Right.
This is a smaller tour, but here's what you get. You get the tour, you get a tasting, and you get the meal at Miss Mary Bobo's restaurant. So it's like they basically feed you and wine you and dine you in the whole bit. It's very cool.
The food, I believe, that might be wrong, but the food, I believe, is made with, some of it is made with Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And then they pair it.
Yes.
And so that's what I understand. I mean, we'll have to see, but here's a good teaser just for all of our loyal fans and listeners.
Yes.
We are going to do an upcoming show.
Right.
Just trying out some of the barbecue in the area.
Yeah.
So what I would love to do is add this tour so
Yes.
that we can add it as part of that show.
Oh, we should do that.
So look forward to that, people.
Yeah, because we're also trying to do a show on Lynchburg, Tennessee.
That's what I mean,
This is something that you really want to see, this little town, because it deserves its own show. It's just so cool.
Yes.
And it's all built on whiskey.
It's very cute.
When you do the Taste of Lynchburg, you also get the tasting, the flight, which is basically, it's not a shot. They're in a little shot glass, but they just give you a little taste of Jack Daniel's single barrel, the Jack Daniel's barrel proof, the Jack Daniel's single barrel rye, and Jack Daniel's Sinatra Select and Gold 27. So you still get the flight. You still get the tasting.
I really want to make sure, we should look this up and just put like a link. And I'm going to write link right here because I really want to make sure that we explained it right about the devil's cut and the angel's share.
Yeah.
So I think that would be really good.
Okay.
No, I think we can continue, but like, I want to make sure that we have it right because I want our listeners to like know, because it's like a super cool thing that how they like name that and put that. Like,
because I think the angel share is like the evaporative stuff that just...
I don't know though. I don't know, because if it evaporates, what's left, I don't know.
Is better.
So anyway, we'll look into that and put that up for y'all, because that's a pretty cool thing about just this brand.
Yeah. And we want people to be able to be hip to that because, again, I know what I like. The final thing is the Dry County Tour. Now, this one is 70 minutes long, and here's why it's 70. It's shorter.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper. It's $20.
Yeah.
Kids can go on this one.
This is the one I was talking about.
Yeah, the kids can go. It's $7 for kids ages 10 to 17. 9 and under, you're free. Otherwise, it's $20 a head. The amazing thing about this is that it's very cool to take kids to see how this is done.
Yeah.
Because there is history to it. There's actually more science to making whiskey than I ever imagined.
There are a lot of people that are teetotalers. They don't drink.
Right.
But they love things like the science of it, like the fermentation science of it, like whatever. And so they're very like, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you can definitely, and here's the deal. You get the same tour in any tour you take, whatever level of tour you take, you're going to see the same stuff.
Now, here's the thing. If you live near the area, what you can do is you can go and the gift shop is open and you can get, even if you don't drink, you can buy your lucky friends and family.
Yeah.
If you so like choose for them to have it,
Oh, yeah.
you can buy them like right from the distillery, a bottle, and they have some things there that are not in the actual stores, like at your neighborhood liquor store.
Yeah. They have stuff that is exclusively there.
Yeah.
So if you're just like, oh yeah, by the way, and here's the deal. You don't have to take the tour. You're absolutely right. You can park in the parking lot, take the shuttle or walk across, go to Jack Daniel's, go to the gift shop. There's a small museum display there. There's also like the old bottles are there. The history of Jack Daniel's. It's on the walls. You don't have to do the tour. But then you can come out and say, hey, by the way, I picked this up for you at Jack Daniel's Distillery.
Yeah.
Bonus points right there.
And you have to have your ID, so don't forget that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's explain how this works.
Yeah.
So you've booked the tour online. You better do it beforehand. You book the tour online, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to go down, designated driver or not, however you do it. You get there. You enter the visitor center. To go on the tour, you have to show the ID.
Right.
And this is not like, hi, just hand the IDs up. No, you have to be there with it next to your face.
Right.
It's like getting on an airplane, basically.
It is.
You have to say, no, this is me. This is my age.
Yeah.
I can do this. They're very strict about this.
Right.
The other thing they're amazingly strict about is they want to tell you where the bathroom is. I have never seen so many people so helpful tell me where I need to go to the bathroom because they're like, by the way, if you go in, the line's on the right, the bathroom's on the left. Everyone tells you this.
You know what, though? I like how they set this up. Because you just basically walk in, you're like, oh, what do I do? And they're like,
give me the deets.
They give you the deets. Like, they're like, bathroom over here, ID over there. Now you can go.
You don't have to ask anyone where the bathroom is. And the reason they do this, because here's the deal. There's no bathroom stops on the actual tour.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half long. There are some stairs. I think it's a third of a mile actual walking is the statistic. There's like 100 steps you got to take vertically up or down. I get that.
Yeah.
But amazingly, they tell you at the beginning, it's like, by the way, there's no bathrooms on this. Like,
That's
okay.
right.
And the bathroom, can I just say the bathrooms are lovely?
You know, they are. And you know, I'll say this. I think they probably have had too many people sneak off from a tour. I have to go to the bathroom. And then they're like, where can I get some Jack Daniels?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're doing that sort of thing, it's it'll work out great.
Yeah.
Which way is the bar?
I was trying to press that. I think I've already had some Jack Daniels today.
Okay,
right.
So here's what happens. So every couple of minutes, it's like the intercom. It's like the Angel Share 1 o'clock tour is ready in 5 minutes. Please, and they tell you, and this is nice, soothing voice. They tell you what to do.
You should work there.
I would love. We're going to talk about jobs later.
Yeah.
So then they give you the ticket. You show the ticket individually, and then you start the tour. They take you like a little holding room, and they tell you the ground rules.
Yes.
And the ground rules are this: 1, stay with the tour. 2, if you got questions, ask because they know everything about whiskey.
Oh my gosh.
And number 3, there's no bathrooms.
I mean, the level
on the tour.
Look, the level of history and the level of like information that you get about this whole process and just the area and Jack Daniels himself is literally mind blowing because you know we're all about culture.
I'm all about culture.
Okay, so here's how this works. It's culture to learn about whiskey. Actually, yes, it is. Because a lot of rural communities in the United States and Appalachians and the Midwest, hey, this is what we did in the South and stuff. Sure. So here's what you do. You start the tour.
Yeah.
You start the tour. You're going to go into the holding room. They're going to tell you the rules. And basically, the first thing you do is you go out and you get a photo. And the photo is with your friends where it's like, okay, you guys. And what do they do? Say
1, 2, 3 whiskey.
1, 2, 3 whiskey.
And then people just go 1, 2, 3. And then they smile. And then, of course, we get up there. We have our friends with us. And I'm like, look, when they say 1, 2, 3 whiskey, I want you to shout whiskey.
Oh, my gosh. So everybody else, so other groups are like 1, 2, 3 whiskey, 1, 2, 3 whiskey,
or just say nothing at all.
Yeah, and they just grin, and you're in front of like an old moonshiner's truck or whatever. It's like, oh, that's fun. So our turn comes like 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to shout, but it's like whiskey. People heard us across the holler. It's like, wow. And they took a picture and everybody's like, that was great. And everybody had a really good time. We get on the shuttle bus.
She's like, this tour is going to be a fun one.
Darn right it is. And then the next thing you know, the people behind us, they go, 1, 2, 3 whiskey. It's like, come on, guys, learn the lesson well. We're trying to set an example. So, okay, you get on the shuttle bus and the bus, again, and you drive a little bit. And what they do is they step you through the whole tour here.
Yeah.
And you start with charcoal.
You do. You get to see where sort of everything is stored.
Yes.
There's a bunch of storehouses.
Oh, that's
you have to remember, this brand is shipping out worldwide millions and millions and millions of bottles of
That's true.
Stone cold liquor.
You drive past the warehouses and they say, oh yeah, here's a warehouse. How much is in that? I go, well, it's so many barrels, and it's literally, you're passing by millions of gallons of whiskey. Keep this number in mind. It is a crazy amount. All the Jack Daniel's whiskey, every time you've seen a bottle of Jack Daniel's whiskey, anywhere you've been on the planet, at home, at the bar, at the wherever you've seen Jack Daniel's, it all comes from this one place.
Yeah.
It's not like there's multiple distilleries all over. Everything goes through these guys.
Right.
And holy moly, so the shuttle bus, you drive past like, oh yeah, there's warehouse. What's in there? Oh, that's a storehouse of a couple millions of gallons of whiskey.
Worth millions,
oh my gosh. Then that's right. Then they take you to the they call it the rick house.
Right.
And this is where they make the charcoal.
Yes.
Because whiskey, we'll get into the process, but what they have to do, you have to have charcoal to make whiskey.
It is filtered through charcoal.
Yes. And so they basically burn these pallets, and they're all made out of specific wood.
Yep.
And they have charcoal experts. Their job is to burn the wood down to make charcoal.
And I did not know this until this last time we took the tour.
Right.
They actually light the rickets with Jack Daniel's whiskey.
Oh, that's right.
Because they don't want to taint the flavor with like lighter fluid.
Yeah.
I think that is literally the best thing I've ever learned in my life.
So camping trip, next time you can't get that campfire started, but you're taking Jack Daniel's with you, pro tip, go ahead and splash a little bit on. It'll catch.
Follow us for more recipes. Okay. Don't waste your whiskey though.
No.
It's a good pro tip, I suppose.
So they do that, and it's like, wow, okay. And so they show you, it's like, here's how they burn the charcoal, and they do it, I think, every week. Yeah. So they have a charcoal brigade, and literally it's like they make that, and they grind up, they use the charcoal, which we'll come to in just a few moments.
Yes.
All right. So now you leave that area.
Yeah.
You walk by a couple of fire trucks. They're old-time fire trucks. They have their own fire brigade.
They do.
Because you don't want to burn the Jack Daniel's stuff or anything like that.
There's a lot of pressure, a lot of fire, a lot of like stuff going on, chemistry.
Yeah.
Things could blow.
There's alchemy going on.
There's alchemy.
So what happens?
It's dangerous.
You leave that area, and then you come to the stream.
Yes.
There's an angelic choir every time I think of this place. It is a nice, cool place. It's basically an underground cave.
Yeah.
And a stream is coming out of it.
Now, here's what people don't know.
Right.
There's some caves around here in this area.
Yeah.
And so you can go actually explore some of that sort of like, local.
The cavernous, limestoney karst and all that good stuff. Sure.
But this one is like when Jack Daniels found it, he was like enamored with the type of water flowing out of it.
Absolutely. Let's give you a history of Jack Daniels, because when you go to the stream, by the way, you're going to see a bronze life-size statue of this guy standing in front of it.
Give me the deets.
Here's some deets for you. Okay, Jack Daniels, a name who's synonymous with fine whiskey. I know I'm making the yummy sound. It turns out he was born in 1846 or 1849 or 1850. No one quite knows.
That's bizarre.
It is. If you doubt me on this, look at Wikipedia, because they're saying one thing. Everybody's like, well, here's the census records, but the official time was 49, but we think 46. No one quite knows.
I kind of like that level of mystery.
Oh, so do I.
That's kind of cool.
So in the 1840s or possibly 1850, Jack Daniels shows up. He's the youngest of 10 children.
Wow, that's a lot.
This is back in the day.
Okay.
His dad died.
Okay.
And he had a stepmom at the time.
Yeah.
So he's grown up with a stepmom, and they don't get along.
That happens.
He leaves home in basically 1864. So he is a teenager, young teenager, mid-teenager at this time.
He's a young man with a dream.
He's a young man with a dream. He works with the local pastor. The local pastor, his name is Dan Call. Now, let me run this by you for a pastor with a resume. This guy is a pastor who is also making whiskey.
Oh, well.
He's kind of a pastor moonshiner type whiskey distillery guy.
Okay, cool.
I go to church more often.
Pass the communion. Wait, no, that's Catholicism. Is it? I don't even know.
He teaches them how to make whiskey.
That is so cool.
He teaches them how to be a good, moral, upstanding, steadfast young man, and how to make some booze. All right. So he does that, and Jack Daniels learns how to do this. And this is where he comes across the stream.
Yeah.
Because he wants to find a stream, a pure source of quality water for his still. And by the way, it can have no traces of iron elements in it at all.
That's like
that was the
crazy.
search.
Yeah.
And so he found it. The water is 56 degrees year round, and every bottle of Jack Daniels that's ever been made or ever will be made has come through this one single stream. I kid you not.
That is the coolest thing I've ever found out ever.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Go to any bar. I dare you right now. Okay, Voca Vacayers, right now, go to a bar. Did you look? Did you see Jack? They've got it. They've got Jack Daniels, right? It is ubiquitous. It is everywhere. And here's the amazing thing. It all came from the same place.
That's crazy.
I can't wrap my head around this math.
I love it.
You know, and they say millions of barrels. That's just what they've got sitting in that one building, guys.
Yeah.
There's more all over the place, or millions of gallons that are contained in barrels.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, it all came from this one spot.
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff. Jack Daniels himself, you'll see the statue. He was 5'2" tall. He's not a big dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He never married. Never had kids. So basically, here's this guy.
He was a single bachelor.
He's a single bachelor. He's like, ladies, I make good whiskey. And he did. He started off with something called Old Number 7.
Old Number 7.
In fact, if you get standard Jack Daniels and the black and white label, that's Old Number 7.
Love it.
No one knows where the name came from. It's like,
so it's like more levels of mystery.
I know. I'm really getting into this guy. So what happens is that the Old Number 7, he's starting to make it. He builds his still. He does all this stuff. When you're going on the tour, right after the stream, you're going to turn around and there's the building where it's basically where his office was.
Right.
It is the oldest building on the tour. It's housed right next to the stream. And that is where he would come in and just sort of supervise what's going on. And whiskey was made and all was good.
Oh, love it.
This the late 1800s we're talking about.
Yeah.
Life was good.
Life was good.
Prohibition hadn't happened yet. Everything is awesome. We are so good. Whiskey is a-flowing. The birds are a-singing. Life is good in Tennessee.
Preachers are a-preachering while they're making their whiskey.
Pastors are pasteurizing or whatever they're doing. That's the wrong word.
That's the wrong thing.
As it happens, and remember, Jack Daniels was famous for a couple things. One was the whiskey. Two was that he wasn't a big guy. He wasn't an imposing figure at all. He's actually a pretty little guy. And more amazingly, he never came into work early. So all of you people are like, I got to go in at 6 a.m. to make a difference in the world. No, you don't. No, you don't. Jack Daniels slept in late. He caroused all night. It's like, this is the guy, right?
For those of you who are like, work never sleeps.
Yeah.
Jack Daniels is like, oh, I can wait.
I'm going to sleep in.
Yeah.
It was actually his eventual downfall and death because he came in early one day. This is a true story, and you can see where it happened and hear about why it happened. What happened?
Hit me to this knowledge.
He comes in, and he never came in early. One day in 1905, he came in early.
Oh, no.
And he was trying to open his safe. The safe is still there, by the way. It's a big, heavy iron, steel safe, whatever it's made of. This thing is a tank, okay?
Oh, wow, yeah.
He couldn't open his safe
Ooh.
because he got there early. No one else was around to open the safe and all this stuff, and he's trying to get some paperwork from the inside of it. And he's like, and he got frustrated, and he kicked the safe really hard.
Oh.
He kicked it so hard, he got gangrene in his toe.
Oh.
As
That's not good.
Yeah, this is the dicey part. If you're squeamish, you might want to fast forward a minute because here's what happened. It turns out that they had to amputate his toe.
No.
Then his foot, years later, then his foot,
No.
later up to his, like in 1911, 6 years later, he died of blood poisoning.
He had sepsis.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it literally, it happened that way because he was so aggravated that he could not open his safe by himself. He kicked it, and eventually it caused him to die of blood poisoning years later.
That super sucks.
Yeah.
Because for somebody that had such an empire.
Yeah.
To just like have that. I mean, but I know it was back in the day.
Yeah.
To have that happen back in the day, it was like way more tragic than it ever could be today. Because we have such technology and like
the 100 years
medicine.
removed. Sure.
Yeah. But wow, that just super sucks.
That absolutely happened. And
how old was he when he died?
Well, that's the thing. They don't know when he was born, but 1911, he was born around 1850, so late 50s, close to 60 years old.
Well,
that's the ballpark, which is still a pretty good run.
Is, yeah.
But still, of all the things that I've heard, I was like, seriously? That was it? And you will still see the safe. The safe is still there, by the way.
Yeah,
and they'll tell you that story. It's like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So remember, he didn't have wife or kids, told you that. What he did was he left the distillery to his nephew. His name is Lem Motlow. Okay.
Yeah.
Motlow, by the way, just as a quick sidebar, whenever you come through Tennessee, there's a number of community colleges in our area that are called Motlow Community Colleges.
Yeah.
One way that he gave back was to start people in the working trades.
Yeah.
So very cool. Good for Lynn Motlow. Okay. So that is where he worked, and that is part of your tour. You'll find out about Lynn Motlow. You'll find out about all the master distillers and the master tasters and all this stuff. And you will also learn things about, okay, this is the main part where he was in charge of the empire.
Yeah.
But then you go next stop to the distillery building.
Yeah.
By the way, when you're outside of this place, you're going to notice a couple things. And one of them, there's like a black soot residue on the trees.
Everywhere on the property.
And you're thinking, what is this?
Yeah.
It turns out, here's your science lesson for the day, children. When you are distilling alcohol, the alcohol vapor, that's your angel share stuff.
It's the vapors. That'll give you the vapors.
It goes out onto the trees and creates what we call a microflora.
You sound smart.
Microflora.
SMRT.
Microflora, it's basically harmless stuff. It's like alcohol vapor that gets on the trees and the rain washes it off. It's not a big deal. But the microflora, it's a clue for the old law enforcement guys to track down the moonshiners. So if you're driving through the backwoods and suddenly all the trees in one small area have like a blackish tint on their leaves.
That's how you know.
That's how you know someone's got some stills
law
over here.
enforcement, tax surveyors. Oh, you going down if they found some microflora.
It gets more and more pronounced the closer you get to the distillery proper.
I'm sure.
Because when you're going there, you're going to go, oh yeah, because that's where the vats of Jack Daniels are being made. And by the way, there's no pictures in this building.
Oh, right, yeah. They let you take pictures on a lot of the tour.
And they'll tell you where you can do it and where you can't. So if there's like, a statue of Jack Daniels, take your picture next to the guy. If there's the stream, take the picture next to it. In the distillery building, no. And the reason it's a hard no is because there's vapors.
There's vapors.
Yeah.
You don't want to have any electricity going on.
No, you don't want battery. No, they are very strict about it. So don't even try.
Yeah.
You're fine. This is where you'll see the large vats of Jack Daniels in the process of being made.
Woo-hoo!
Now, the thing is, when you go in there, they'll say, oh, yeah. And they'll talk about, oh, yeah. And now the alcohol goes through here and it percolates down. And
it goes through 7 layers of charcoal.
Yeah. And it's like 10 feet of charcoal, but it just goes down and down and down and down.
I think it's 7.
It's something like that. But what happens when they go through the charcoal, they will take off the lid and you can get a whiff of what it smells like.
Oh, it'll knock your watch out of your watch pocket.
Oh, holy moly. You'll be going...
It is something. Yeah.
You can actually taste the air.
Yes, you can.
Which is stunning stuff. Woo! So, and by the way, when you talk about like the Gentleman Jack or the more refined whiskeys they have, that's not the old number 7. What they do is by the time this goes through, by the time the liquid filters through all the charcoal, what they do is, now you've got whiskey.
Right.
What they'll do with the more advanced, like Gentleman Jack stuff, they'll take it through and they'll pass through another layer of charcoal, like 3 feet of charcoal a second time to refine it a little bit more. So some people can tell the difference. I just know what I like. And I'm like, okay.
I like it all.
All the above. So then you go, so it's a charcoal filtering process, 10 feet of charcoal, and you go, okay, that's nice. Now, you've got all this really good whiskey, right? Mm-hmm. Got to put it in a barrel.
Okay.
You learn.
Now we wait.
The barrel make. Oh yeah. Now we have a couple years. The barrel making process. What happens is that you go through the filtering and the distilling. You go through the barrel. And by the way, here's something, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Try to go out and buy a barrel someday.
Oh my goodness.
Would you know? Seriously, Maria. Would you know where to go buy a barrel? Right?
No.
If someone said, "I need a barrel," where do you buy one?
I don't even know.
You have to get it from a cooper. Now look on, look on the website. Try to find a cooper in town. They don't exist. This is an old-fashioned artisan skill.
It is.
Jack Daniels has got some coopers working for him.
That's awesome.
That they make barrels just for them. Now,
I love how they recycle everything and how they're very artisan.
Oh, yeah.
About everything.
They take you to a barrel making display. It's a video and they show you the guys that are doing this, and they have these staves and they put on the hoops and they do this. Like, I had no idea. And some people, they make these things. The barrels are made at 2 different places in Alabama and Kentucky from American white oak.
Now, here's the deal. You said, where can you buy a barrel?
Yeah.
Can you go to Lynchburg and buy a barrel?
Actually, you can.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
The only place I know to buy a barrel is actually in Lynchburg, because once they use them, they only use them once.
Right.
So once they've made the whiskey, you can buy that barrel.
Yeah, and we do know this. Once they use them, because they only use them once, part of that recycling that I mentioned, they ship a lot of barrels over to Scotland.
Yep.
And overseas for the Scotch and for making, whiskey and Irish whiskey and
the Scotch and all that
Scottish,
stuff. Yeah. And they totally
whiskey,
do that.
Yeah.
And so if you're thinking, here's the deal. If you take a tour in Scotland and go, I'm going to get some Scotch, you ask them, where's the beer? And they'll tell you, it's like,
is it Scotch or Scotch whiskey? Is it Scotch? Is Scotch whiskey?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's also Irish whiskey.
Yes.
The difference is one is spelled K-E-Y and one's spelled K-Y.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's the difference, really. And I know the Irish and the Scots going to say, hey, this is different. Guys, I know what tastes good. I don't get into the little delineations of this versus this. All I know is that yum, yum, yummy in my tummy.
Well, and so a lot of it is made with our barrels from here, from Jack Daniel's.
Yeah.
And we were on a distillery tour we'll talk about later when we do our episode on Scotland.
Yes.
And they mentioned, and we were like, what? We live there.
Yeah, we live there. Cool. They're like, hey, get in. we sampled some of that. And by the way, also delicious.
Yes.
Also, the barrels are shipped to Louisiana because there's some hot sauce people that put their hot sauce in used Jack Daniel's barrels.
Now that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. You can also buy them as furniture, whatever in the gift shops.
Oh, yeah.
So
people put plants in them.
Yeah.
They're planters, like they put them out in their garden.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Totally
too.
do that.
Yeah.
So it's like now you've seen the entire thing about how it's where the water comes from. You've seen the charcoal filtering. It goes in the barrels, and then you walk through basically one of the bottling areas, which was closed for us because it was on a Sunday.
Yeah, so they don't bottle on Sunday.
Right.
And so, but before that, before you come to the end of the tour and you do your tasting,
right,
they'll take you to where they do the mash.
Yes.
And the last tour that we did, the day that we were on, it was day one of the mash and it was super strong.
Right.
You also can't take pictures in that building.
Right.
But they'll show you the mash. And so on a typical day, it won't be very strong. But on this day, they opened to show you the mash in the big vat. And it was like they had just started it.
Strong.
It was so strong that literally our tour guide was like standing there and she was like, she's like, everybody out. I have to go. She was like, her eyes started watering. Like it was strong.
And they said, by the way, don't stick your face in there and take a whiff. Just walk by a couple feet away from it. Because it's so strong that day. And you're absolutely right, because the tour is going to change a little bit every day, because on some days, look, they're burning the wood to make the charcoal.
Right.
So there's a 1 out of 7, 1 out of 10 chance you're going to see that one day.
Right.
Other days, like, well, we just put the smash in. Other days, we just put the charcoal in.
Right.
You have to understand it's a working distillery.
It is.
And what you see is what you're going to see.
Yeah.
And every day it's like, oh yeah, that's right. The mash was good. Ooh. So if you go on not a Sunday, you'll see them actually bottling things.
Oh, it's very cool.
Everything exits though
through the gift shop.
To get to the gift shop, you have to go through the tasting room. Now, the Dry County people, this is basically where your tour shops and you go directly to the gift shop.
Yes.
Okay. If you're with one of the other tours,
yes, where
you've said, okay, I'm going to try these things.
Yes.
This is where you get your little flight.
Yes.
And a flight, it's like a wooden, for us, if you want to see what a flight looks like, if you're watching us on YouTube, here's what we got. It's a little piece of paper, and it says, here are the different kinds, like Gentleman Jack, Old Number 7, the Rye, the Tennessee Honey, Tennessee Fire, Tennessee Apple. You go there and you have a little bitty shot glass with a little taste, taste.
Just a little something to wet your whistle.
It's not a full shot, guys, and you don't need a full shot.
No, you don't.
And they also give you water.
Yes.
And they say, okay, and you have your guide who will now tell you exactly how to taste properly.
And I did not know this, and I'm going to share this tip. This is something good to know when you're not on a tour, but just in life, like trying different alcohols or liquors or whatever.
Sure.
When you smell a liquor, you should apparently smell it with your mouth a little open.
Yeah.
Because then you get the full range.
Oh, that's right.
Of what's like in it and what, the full range of the whole body of it.
Yeah.
And when you just smell it with your mouth closed with just your nose, you only get certain notes.
And the other thing that I've learned, and here's another pro tip for you guys, honestly. I don't know what cowboy western everyone was watching with Gene Autry or Clint Eastwood or whatever, where people like get some whiskey and they just pound a shot down. Guys, I never take a shot and just throw it straight down the gullet.
I do sometimes.
I can't do it. For me, I want to actually taste what I'm drinking.
Sure.
So I know there's sometimes like kegger party, frat brother, yes, and boom, and all stuff. I get the environment, but when you're actually...
Or for me, a Wednesday. No, I'm just kidding.
But when you're actually trying something like this...
Which way is the bar?
When you're actually trying something like this, you know what, gang? You want to be able to savor it and taste it. So they're going to say things like, okay, now you do this, hold it in your mouth, you feel that, now you drink it down, follow it with a little, drink of water, something like that. They will show you how to properly taste whiskey instead of how to drink whiskey.
I love that because especially if you're into trying different ones and comparing, whiskey, bourbon, scotch, like whatever, you need to know how to properly taste things. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You do. It's like they will show you how to do it.
I love it.
So what you're going to do it, and we sampled all of them.
Yeah.
And this is going back to the start of the program where I said, hey, a designated driver, you really don't get drunk.
No.
I guess if you're like an 80-pound woman and you haven't had anything else in your stomach, you might get a little bit tipsy.
I guess.
But it's really, this is a tasting flight. It's not a flight full of 6 shots of booze. It doesn't work that way.
No. And I think what they do is they, reconcile that the amount that they're giving you to taste is something that's not going to increase your blood alcohol to where it wouldn't go past like law standards.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you get a little taste, you get a little sample. It's like, that is delicious. So
easy on the palate.
You're going to do that. And then only once you're done with that, you exit through the gift shop.
Yes.
And now the gift shop, let's explain the gift shop because the gift shop does have bottles that you can't just find readily everywhere.
Right.
They have the standards. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see there's a bottle here of Gentleman Jack. If you can see this, we actually did this back in 2017. I think this was our first tour there.
It was, yeah.
And we had this engraved.
So they do some engraving, which is nice.
Yeah.
You pick out a bottle from the shop, and then you go over and they'll engrave it. And that's also where you buy your pictures.
Yes. And the engraving, I think it's $9. Oh, and also, not every bottle can be engraved. If you just get a bottle of like Old Number 7, they don't engrave because there's really no place on the bottle to engrave it.
Yeah.
You can't really fit any words on there.
Yeah.
So Gentleman Jack, and there's 1 or 2 others, they have enough acreage on the actual glass that they can write a couple of words.
Now, in the gift shop, they do have some things you can't get in the regular liquor store.
Right.
But also what is cool is that in the tasting, they'll give you little like things that I didn't know this, like probably you don't know, but they're like, take the honey and mix it with the fire.
Yeah.
So you try them separately. And then you can mix them, and then you can go buy that and have that night.
I know.
And that's pretty cool because I never knew that combination. Then all of a sudden I wanted to go buy each one.
Yeah.
Just to be able to do.
Yeah. And we'll also say things like, oh, by the way, if you get this, if you get like the Tennessee apple and mixed with like ginger ale, it's like, wow, really?
Yeah.
And again, I don't like flavored alcohol.
Yeah, me either.
I want the pure stuff. So whenever it's like, this is bubblegum flavored vodka, girl, you're just gritting my last nerve. But this stuff is actually like, this is good. And they'll tell you, it's like, oh yeah, the honey, it's like local honey. The apples are like harvested and it's like, it's really good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, yeah, we can totally do this. By the way, just a couple of closing notes on this because people are like, who works at Jack Daniel's? Because it's a small town.
Right.
Everyone knows each other.
Right.
And there are families. In fact, our tour guide, when we were coming out, our tour guide's like, she started talking to someone else walking. She's like, that's my mom.
Yeah.
Families work there.
Yeah.
Generations of families work there. In fact, the current master distiller, his name is Chris Fletcher. He's the grandson of the former master distiller named Chris Bobo, who did that job. He's basically at Jack Daniel's between 66 and 89. So it's like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. It was actually very, very cool stuff to see people walk around. It's like, oh yeah, that's my cousin, that's my brother. Families work there.
I love that they do that because it makes it a real family business. Like when you take pride in it. It's like a family business that then became families' businesses, and then like other families got involved. And so now there's just like this pride in it, and people from the area and like his family and his people that, well, I guess he didn't really have any family in it, but people
his nephew, yeah.
His nephew, but then other than that.
Yeah.
But like, his people that he put and had working with him, but it makes it like there's a lot of pride in that.
Yeah.
And there's, people are less to disrespect it, or people will take it more seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that so much.
Yeah, because we're going down there and it's basically an extended family business.
Yeah.
The first Friday of the month, they call it Good Friday because the first Friday of every single month, you get a bottle of Old Number 7 take home if you're an employee.
Yeah.
So, and they said apparently no one is ever absent on that day.
I love it.
Everyone works there all the time. The other thing, final thing, a couple statistics. Jack Daniel's was sold to Kentucky-based Brown Forman in 1956.
Oh, wow.
So it is owned by people in Kentucky, not Tennessee, but Kentucky. They know some alcohol too. We'll give it to them. And also they sell 10 million cases, not bottles, 10 million cases every year in 170 countries. Now, Voca Vacay, we're on in like 150 countries.
Yeah.
Which means there's 20 countries out there that have Jack Daniels, but not Voca Vacay. We're coming for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So that being said, it's a great tour. It's wonderful stuff.
You would think getting so liquored up, we'd never have an argument anytime we've ever gone to Jack Daniels, and we've gone a couple of times
We've
now.
gone several times.
Yes, we have.
would never disagree. We would never argue, would we? No, we wouldn't. It's time right now. Let's settle this. Let's settle this hash. It's time for Monica and Joey.
It's game on. It's time for Monica versus Joey.
Okay, so what do you think? You want to be Monica on this one?
Well, yeah. So as you know, as we, loved the show Friends, and Monica and Joey had such differing viewpoints on things.
I'm always Joey.
They always loved each other and had that friendship, and deep down they always they could agree to disagree.
Sure.
Okay, so I think when you go through this tour and you get to the end and they tell you can buy a barrel.
Yeah.
Would you buy a barrel? What would Joey do?
Oh my gosh. Let's preface this. You can buy a barrel, because we said before you can buy a barrel for like furniture. You can buy one. Are you talking about a barrel that's full of whiskey?
Yep.
A barrel that is full of whiskey can be purchased.
It can.
If you purchase a barrel, we'll tell you the number in a second. If you purchase a barrel of whiskey from Jack Daniels, you get your name. It's an engraved thing, and it's on the wall. They have a wall of barrel owners.
Yes.
It costs $10,000.
Woo! I want to do it.
You do?
Because I want bragging rights.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about the competition. And I'm like, look, I got my name on the wall. I got a barrel of whiskey that I can share with my friends.
Yeah.
You better be a good friend.
Yeah.
But I think that would be super cool.
Okay. And if I'm Joey, I'm going to be like, it's $10,000.
It's true.
It's a lot of money. But okay, now here's the deal. For those of you who are wondering, because we did ask, if you buy a barrel, what happens? Do they just show up at the door with the UPS truck in a barrel?
I literally was like, I have a really dumb question. And they were like, it's not a dumb question. I was like, no, really. Do you just get a barrel full of booze? I was like, and they were like, okay, no.
Here's what they do. And it was great that you asked this question. As Joey, I still wouldn't do this because it's like, whoa, too much.
Yeah.
You get it. They bottle it for you.
Yeah.
And they don't ship it to your home. They ship it to the nearest liquor store near you.
Oh, man.
That carries Jack Daniels, which is basically every liquor store that there is.
Yeah.
And you will go there and you'll get a call from your liquor store. It's like, we got a couple of cases for you to come get. And you drive
Come on
there,
down here, Lushy.
And you pick it up. What is it? It's like 150 bottles.
Oh, it's a lot.
Now, if we were to do this, okay, Monica, what would you do with 150 bottles of Jack Daniels? Because me, as Joey, I can't drink all that in my life. I know how many bottles I could go through, but I'm not going to be able to set that curve. What do you do with 150 bottles of Jack Daniels?
Drink them. No, I think you share them with family and friends. You give them as gifts. Mm-hmm. You drink as much as you can.
Yeah.
I mean, not all at once.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Strange Brew. When they fall in the
vat.
Yeah.
The beer. Oh, geez, I got to drink my way out. Take off, hoser. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And it would be, here's the deal. If you are a corporate, I want to say a company or something like that, or whoever, or just one of these fancy people, it's like, by the way, just so you know, I purchased a barrel of Jack Daniels. Here's your bottle. You could actually take care of your entire Christmas list.
Oh, my gosh.
Easily.
That's pretty cool.
And say, here's a bottle of Jack Daniels. I had my own barrel, and it comes from there.
It's like, I just think like Monica would be like, oh, we're buying one.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel that way. Like, I'm like, we've done this several times now. It's time to just do it. Let's just do it. Because look, there's our name on the wall and we've got a barrel, and come over because our party's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that would be so fun.
When Voca Vacay becomes the universal conglomerate that it already is, maybe we'll consider doing this. Like, hey, all of our friends and sponsors.
Not quite there yet.
150 bottles. Anyway, it can be done. And, and remember, if you don't have that sort of cash laying around, you can buy a bottle on your own. And, oh, by the way, you can buy the bottles at the gift shop. We should wrap this part up with this.
Yeah.
It is a dry county, but because this is an educational cultural tour, it's exempt. You can buy a bottle because the bottles are sealed at the gift shop.
Yes.
So whatever you do, if you don't buy the whole barrel, you can at least buy a bottle and just say, hey, I got this for you. It came from the distillery proper.
And that's really cool.
Which is actually very cool.
Yeah.
So that's just one of those little nuggets of information we want to pass along to you. But, as always, we also have other information we can give you right now.
Ooh, I like a good travel nugget.
Here's a travel nugget for you, Buttercup. Go online. There's a website. It's you always hear about the Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
Yes.
Which we've done a program on.
Yes.
And it was great.
Yeah.
Tennessee has a whiskey trail.
Yes.
And the website for this is TN, that's the abbreviation for Tennessee, tnwhiskeytrail.com.
Oh, very cool.
And they divide the state up into different sections. So there's like the western section, the middle section, whatever. And if you say, hey, I want to go to the middle section, which is where Jack Daniel's is, you'll find out about the other distilleries. Like, for example, literally right around the corner within a 5-minute drive, 10-minute drive, maybe.
It's like right there.
It might be 10 minutes away. George Dickel.
Yeah, very cool.
Which is also it's a cool distillery. It's a couple miles away.
Yeah.
And hey, they kind of like each other. Everybody gets along here. It's not like you got to go to one but not the other. Like, no, we're happy for you to see the others as well.
Right.
Also, one that you found independently, which I wasn't aware of, is Short Mountain Distillery.
Right.
This one you really get a kick out of.
I do, because this is the old Moonshiner Distillery. Mm-hmm. And I like that because if you've watched the show Moonshiners, or you're from West Virginia, you've heard a little bit about the moonshine and the brandy in the area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this one was really cool because you can actually go on a tour with an actual old moonshiner.
Right.
And he will walk you through the process and talk about the history.
Yes.
And that's super cool.
It is. It is one of those nice little things like, oh, yeah, moonshine. So it is further away. It's about an hour away from Jack Daniel's, maybe. Probably about an hour.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a straight road that goes there. You're all over God's creation, driving in circles and all that stuff. But when you find it, it's actually very cool.
Yeah.
And Short Mountain, same things like check in advance, see if they're having the speaker come in, talk about moonshine. And yeah, you can totally do that
It's highly recommended.
tnwhiskeytrail.com. That is the travel nugget.
Love it.
And as we're doing the extensive and voluminous research, as we wrap up this episode, as we do with every single episode, we always go, you know what? Sometimes you come across things that are like related to the show. And sometimes you just come across this odd little tidbit and just go, is this serious? Is this a real thing?
What the holy guacamole are you talking about?
This one has to do with alcohol, and it is a guacamole for us.
Okay, cool.
The great circle of life, I think of the Lion King. Southwest Airlines. Let's go all the way from Tennessee down to Houston. Houston Hobby Airport. I tells you, it's a wonderful place. Southwest Airlines. If you go down to Houston Hobby, and by the way, Houston has a couple of airports. Houston Hobby is the smaller of the two.
Yeah.
Because they also have a big international airport down there. But Houston Hobby, they have Southwest Airlines down there. Southwest Airlines has 89% of the flights and 92% of the seats out of Houston Hobby Airport.
That's nuts.
Basically, it's Southwest Airlines. And Southwest
it's like
Airlines,
just their hub.
Yeah, it's a major hub for these guys.
Yeah.
Turns out that Southwest Airlines has suspended in-flight alcohol service indefinitely.
What?
They've done this because of COVID and touching things and all stuff. So Southwest Airlines, you cannot get any alcohol on the plane. This is important, guys.
Them's fighting words.
I got on a plane, I can't buy booze? What? So what they did is they have all of these drink coupons that they were giving out, and people can't use them.
You got to get your coupons.
Got to get the coupons.
But you can't use them?
You can't use them because Southwest Airlines doesn't have alcohol right now.
That's just wrong.
It's wrong. It's wrong on so many levels. So what is happening is everyone is now what we call pre-gaming.
Oh, what we call now. I've always known of pre-gaming.
Okay, pre-gaming for you is what? College football.
It is, because before you would go to the game, well, you would party the night before too.
Oh, yeah.
But like you'd wake up, you'd get your, $5 pizza.
Yeah.
And you'd have, your keg of beer. You'd start pre-gaming. You'd go to the noon kickoff.
Yeah.
You'd be good to go.
You're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
You don't want to pay, I'm not going to get drunk just at the game. I got to start in advance.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, go ears. So I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, so everybody's starting to pregame. Now check this out. One restaurant group is basically it's Papacitos, Papa Dough, and Papa's Burgers.
Okay.
They are the restaurant / bars / whatever you want to call it. They have common ownership, and they report their alcohol sales together at Houston Hobby Airport. Okay. So if you go there, you're going to go to Papacitos, Papa Dough, or Papa's Burgers.
Okay.
It's basically the same conglomerate. They own all three.
Sure.
They report all their alcohol sales as one because it's under the same literal roof.
Okay.
It turns out that these restaurants, the Hobby Airport, generated $1 million in alcohol sales in June of this year, which just ended. They are literally the number 2 location of, they're the number 1 location. how do I phrase this? They sold more booze in Houston than any other restaurant.
That's crazy.
Because everyone is going, they can't get alcohol on Southwest Airlines. So it's like, you know what? I'm getting drunk first, then getting on the flight. Take that, Southwest Airlines. And these 3 restaurants, Papacitos, Papado, and Papa's Burgers, now have more in alcohol sales than anyone else in Houston. And it's not even close. Boom.
That's funny. You know, here's the thing. You're not really supposed to drink when you're flying.
No.
Because, you know, it dehydrates you. And because you're like, when you fly, you lose a lot of you know, you get dehydrated.
Yeah.
And so alcohol exacerbates that problem. And so people that drink, and it has become synonymous with flying.
Right.
People that drink are because they are uncomfortable flying.
Yeah.
And so this is hysterical to me.
Yeah.
Because it goes to show how many people don't follow the actual rule of, you know, don't drink, you know, hydrate, wear your compression socks, take your baby aspirin, all the things you're supposed to do.
Wonderful ideas.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have a bunch of bourbons or whiskeys or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is actually really telling of the American flying population.
Houston Hobby Airport is the #1 alcohol sales point in Houston, which is one of the top 10 largest cities in the United States.
Yeah.
They sell more alcohol there than any restaurant.
Oh, man, that's funny.
It's not even close.
Got to get your coupons.
Oh, and by the way, Southwest Airlines last year, they extended their free drink coupons from 2021. They extended them to from 2020. They extended to the end of this year, but they still aren't offering. So it's like, yeah, you can use the free coupon this year. It still doesn't work.
You better extend it again.
You better.
Oh, man, that would make me mad.
I want to go to Houston Hobby just for the airport now. Anyway, that's what we got going on. If you come to Tennessee, remember, hey, check out Jack Daniel's.
Yeah.
Because it's a wonderful place to visit.
It is.
And just the only thing
it's a pilgrimage.
It is a pilgrimage. But we do ask, please contact them in advance. Go to their website in advance. We'll put their website on vocavacay.com, because if you're going to book the right kind of tour for your group, if you think you're going to eat, that's only on a couple of days a week. If you're taking the kids, that's only a certain tour. If you want this level of whiskey, whatever you want, make sure you get the one, because you're going to see the same stuff. We want you to get the best trip possible.
And drink responsibly.
Yeah, darn right. And get a designated driver if you feel so, or just take one of the tours from Nashville.
Yeah, sure.
They'll drive you down, not a problem. Because, hey, that's what happens when you vacation like it's your job.
And you live vicariously through yourself.
Darn right. Anyway, hey, we want to say thanks for listening to us. We're on all the socials. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, the
Tweeters, the Instagrams.
And, of course, the mothership of vocavacay.com.
Yes.
And, hey, we'll come back. We'll be back in a couple weeks with a new episode.
Yes.
It means we'll see you in a fortnight.
Yes.
That's Marie over there.
That's Frank.
Love ya.
Miss ya.
Mean it.
Bye.
Don't forget to click subscribe. As always, #Voca Vacay at Voca Vacay and visit vocavacay.com.